As of this week, it's been 2 months since George Floyd died, and in that short period of time, this country has changed perhaps more than it has in decades. There has been widespread violence and lawlessness. We just talked to a man who was stabbed for the crime of trying to cover a riot. Crime rates have soared in almost every major city. Here's how people in Minneapolis responded to George Floyd's death.
This is literally the craziest stuff I've ever seen right now.
So things fell completely apart, in case you don't remember that from a couple of months ago. A small group of violent people took control. But the most amazing part of all of this is how the city of Minneapolis responded. The city council, rather than increasing the presence of the police, decided to eliminate the police department. And then that idea, which 2 weeks before would have been considered so insane no one would have said it out loud, metastasized almost immediately to the rest of the Democratic Party, and defund the police became a talking point. Now, Barack Obama, one of the sleaziest and most dishonest figures in the history of American politics, used George Floyd's death at a funeral to attack the police. Here's what he said.
Bull Connor may be gone, but today we witness with our own eyes police officers kneeling on the necks of Black Americans.
Bull Connor? The country falling apart, riven by racial strife and tribalism. And one of the most respected people in the whole country decides to pour gasoline on that and compare the police to Bull Connor? As if America or Minneapolis is like Birmingham, Alabama in 1963. It's insane. It's reckless. But of course, Obama doesn't care. It's only about November and the coming election. The problem is what they're doing to get there. What happens when you eliminate the police or diminish their power? Here's what happens.
Following riots and public demonstrations against the Minneapolis police, the city is now seeing a surge in crime. Homicides have doubled this year. Gun crimes dramatically outpaced last year. People who live and work where the riots hit say prostitution, drugs, and burglary are now unabated. With a segment of the public and the city council against them, the police union says morale is terrible. Officers don't proactively police and are reluctant to use force.
Oh, so when you eliminate the police, there's more crime. A surprise to precisely no one, including the people who did it. Members of the Minneapolis City Council knew exactly what the result would be. They're not that stupid. So even as they abolished the police, they forced taxpayers to pay for security for their homes. Oh, I get it. Fox News senior correspondent Rick Leventhal has been in and around Minneapolis really for months now. He joins us with a report. Hey, Rick.
Hey, Tucker, as we all watched, Minneapolis became the launch pad for nationwide protests 2 months ago after the death of George Floyd. And those demonstrations turned ugly fast, and the destruction that you've documented was widespread.
Yeah, let's go. There.
Apartment buildings, restaurants, and other businesses were set on fire and looted, some in broad daylight. Vehicles were smashed and torched, including police cars and a postal truck, to the delight of the crowds. But no one is cheering now, Tucker. Parts of the city have been deserted. Much has not been repaired. Crime is up and businesses down. Homeless camps filling city parks are just now being dismantled. A salon owner told Fox and Friends about the loss of her shop that she's had for 40 years.
I just could not believe it. Everything was just just a big fire, just a big ball of fire.
Yeah.
Smoke and fire, and I couldn't believe it. It hurts to know I have no business. I have nothing. I don't even have a styling chair anymore, you know. Yeah. I don't have a salon anymore, so it hurts.
And Tucker, as you mentioned, in the aftermath of the riots, the city council voted to defund the police, drawing criticism from a group of anti-violence black activists who held a press conference earlier this month.
It is time for us to stand up in this city. It is time to tell the city council that utopia is a bunch of BS. We are not in Mayberry RFD. We are in the Wild Wild West.
The city needs help, Tucker, and many are wondering when it's coming.
I like how she put it. Thanks so much. Rick, good to see you tonight. Thank you.
You too.
Pastor Steve Carlisle has been in Minneapolis for a long time, for decades. He's seen the city evolve, including recently, and we're happy to have him with us tonight. Pastor, thanks so much for coming on. So it's been about 2 months.
Thank you.
Tell us, because you have perspective, how you think Minneapolis has changed in that time.
Well, there's less of a cop presence, which means that crime is on the up and up. And you know, it's sad. It's sad to see. Well, first I'll say Minneapolis is a beautiful place. If you've been here, it's a beautiful place.
Yes, it is.
And it's really sad to see people move out. It's sad to see people live in fear. I personally have I have 7 kids and a wife, and it gets tense at times. I mean, there's no sirens and there's no cop presence. You know, there's no cops pulling up and wanting to get to know talk with us, and so that's a little bit disheartening, I would say.
So the irony is, this violence, these riots, were committed in the name of the weakest in Minneapolis. We're helping the little guy, the underdog, they told us. It sounds, by the description you just gave, that people without a lot of money and, say, 7 children haven't been helped by this at all.
Well, this is what I know, is I know that we need a greater cop presence. There's incidents. I just happen to live about 6 blocks from the 3rd precinct, 6
Yes.
blocks away from where the Target was burnt down and all that. And I can tell you, speaking for where I live, we just people. It would seem like the Wild Wild West. I mean, people are just bolden to fire guns and just break into places and this or that, and it's just it becomes scary. It becomes scary.
Are you going to stay?
Well, I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay. I was born and raised here. I'm a pastor at the church next door, and we're pointing people to Christ. We're pointing people to the hope that we have in Christ. So, hey, Tucker, I'm going to stay.
You're a brave man. Pastor, thank you for joining us with that update. I appreciate it. Good luck.
Yeah. Thank you.